guys, it's Illinois here bringing you the brand new discussion video. We're going to be talking about how to side against Nekroz and how you can have a better matchup against Nekroz and what makes them crumble. Now, for those of you who are completely unaware, is that Nekroz are the new deck that ritual summons basically a lot, and we're going to look into different ways into how to counter each of these cards, or not each individual card, but how to side against the whole matchup. Most of the time, they're generally going to go for either a Brionek play, a Trishula play, or a Unicorn play, which is because those are the three strongest ones. You'll see occasionally some players play Decisive Armor, and some play Valkyries over here, but not. Those are few and far between, and though they are relevant. So the first things you want to consider is mass destruction, or destruction in general. Anything that will just completely destroy the card, and the cards on the field. So cards like Regeki, Dark Hole, Torrentials, Mirror Force, or Smashing Ground are excellent side deck cards simply because they remove the problem entirely. And since when they're going to go for the Djinn plays with Releaser and potentially with Releaser and potentially Demolisher to make them not being targeted by card effects, this card is going to be a lot less relevant. But still, it does. Dark Hole, Rekeki, Torrential, and Mirror Force still stop this part because they're not being targeted. Next is Mirror of the Ice Barrier. I'm almost said Trishula of the Ice Barrier, but this card basically, if they go for the Trishula plays, this automatically activates all three of them. So while you're losing one of each card, they're losing two of each card, which means they're going to be losing a total of 6 cards, while you lost only 3. The main thing is that people will be conscious of this card. However, the one card that I think might be interesting to attack in would be Necrophase. If they accidentally hit this without actually knowing what it does, or at any point in the game, they would instantly lose 5 cards. Now, you certainly would lose those 5 cards as well, but generally speaking, if your opponent is losing some of the best ritual monsters that they have in their deck, it's going to be very difficult for them to recover. That's why I think Necrophase is a substantial card. Since you can play it at 2, you can easily return and get those cards back. But really, it's just a test. I think it's a great test subject. So next, you're going to want to talk about, if we're going to focus on cards that just banish in general, like Bottomless or Deep Dark Pull. I believe that Deep Dark Pull, since it is at 3, will be much more relevant, because since the majority of the cards that they're going to be summoning will be level 5 or higher, you could just banish those right off the bat. It doesn't stop Unicorn, but other than that, it's fine. Next, I want to talk about the spell stopping power. Since the majority of the time they're going to be running spells, cards like Oni Raikeki or Lightning Rod Lord, Spell Canceller, or Curse Seal, Forbidden Spell all do the trick against the Speckling pesky Nekroz ritual spells. Spell Cancel is an amazing card simply because it's a permanent mirror effect. Even though you can't play your spells, but Mirror Canceller prevents you from your opponent from special setting. More likely than not, you can survive without those spells. Onirageki is similar. However, they can get around this by just going in straight into the battle phase and going straight into main phase 2. If you somehow have Leo already on the field, or you have Terminal World on the field, they can't really do much on the field other than that. But this card will probably be the one card that people side against the most, because getting rid of the effect of stopping it entirely, and them having dead cards in their hand will prove to be beneficial. Ritual Monster here is a pretty good card. Whenever a ritual monster is summoned, your opponent can't activate anything else anymore, any other spell or traps anymore. So they can't go for a Kleido Mirror, or they can't go for an MST, or they can't play any other spell or traps to get their mirrors back. So it's really effective against in slowing them down. I honestly think this card will be sided a little bit too. Now to stop the Djinns some more, you can play Book of Moon, which shuts down one of them. You can play Book of Eclipse, which shuts down all of them potentially, or you can play Ritual Sealing, which is also good. Even though destroys a face-up ritual monster. Um, Even though it's a simple, straightforward effect, which it really doesn't go wrong. The Book of Eclipse can go wrong if your opponent draws like 5 cards, but that's fine as long as you have the ability to bounce back and special summon. Book of Moon is also a staple choice, which people are starting to run again anyway. So you'll see this against Nekroz much more. If you're not maining this, you should definitely leave side 1. Next, we're going to talk about this is silencing their effects. So cards like Skill Drain, Majesty's Fiend, Effect Failure will be heavily used against the deck, since most of the time they'll be going for a tertiary play or a Bionic play, and it'll just hurt not to stop their effects. So yeah. Next, we want to talk about stopping their summoning altogether. Vanity's Fiend and Vanity's Tempest, which have always proven to be valuable assets into the game, should be self-explanatory. Next, we're going to be talking about the another way to get rid of all the Jin powers and just stop the problem permanently. Cards like Pulse, Phoenix Wing Blast, and Back to Square One also have the ability to return things to the decks and to the hand. So next, we're going to talk about stopping the battle phase. Cards like Gores, Trag, Battle Fader, Swiss Scarecrow, all of them just stop the ability from your opponent having the attack. So it's really nice asset to have. Next is Thunder King. Thunder King stops them from adding. So with Clothless and Rhodas, if they're playing that kind of build. So, and lastly, Transmigration Prophecy, which stops their Jin plays. Anyway, that's what I got for you all today. Tell me what you guys think would be helpful against stopping the Nekroz matchup, and